Up first, a rerun Kevin McCarthy wanted to avoid at all costs and could not. Paralysis right now gripping the House floor. Republicans just tried and failed to pass a rule to start the debate on the defense funding bill. The development left the speaker visibly frustrated and openly venting that his members are telling him one thing, then voting another way. That the House cannot even start debate is telling, both of how little control McCarthy currently has over hardliners and how concession after concession has netted the House Speaker very little progress. Let's get straight up to Capitol Hill and CNN's Mel Zonono. So, Mel, break down what happened here and what went wrong for the Speaker.
Yeah, this was an embarrassing defeat for Kevin McCarthy and the leadership team. This is the second time that a procedural vote on a defense bill has failed on the House floor this week alone. That's something you rarely see in Congress, and now it has happened twice for this House Republican conference. But heading in today, leadership was confident. They had this leadership meeting last night with all of the rest of the conference. It was 2 hours long. They worked out their differences. They thought they finally had a path forward on these spending bills. So it was a huge surprise when this vote went down on the floor. And in fact, there was 2 members who had voted yes on the procedural vote earlier this week that ended up voting no today. So the math problems are only growing. But I think the big picture here is that the House is paralyzed. There is no path forward on spending, let alone trying to solve this government shutdown problem. They are trying to put this bill on the floor on Saturday. That would just be a Republican-only funding plan bill, but it doesn't look like they have the votes for that either. I asked one of the members who helped negotiate that deal whether they're going to still try to push forward with that, and he said, I don't know. They sounded really defeated and really deflated. And at some point, Kevin McCarthy is going to have a decision to make. He has been trying to work within his ranks, trying to give conservatives every concession they wanted to get them on board. It has not been enough. When will he at some point work with Democrats? That is the big question in Washington right now. But there's a lot of concern about what that could do for Kevin McCarthy's speakership. And then you also have members like Matt Gaetz who are threatening his own colleagues who are going to try to team up with Democrats. Let's take a listen to what he told me a little bit ago.
There will not be sufficient Republican votes for a continuing resolution. Now, if we've got some of these moderate Republicans who want to go and join up with the Democrats, they will be signing their own political death warrant, and they will be handing it to their executioner.
Very interesting clip. Let's insert this as part of the segment, because this tweet right here from Nick, and he's quote tweeting Shama Sawant, and let's read what he says. Shama and Worker Strike Back called out Ro Khanna and progressives who broke the rail strike for using labor for photo ops. Why are we allowing these traders in to our organizing spaces like AOC at the climate change? Because I don't know if you saw, if any of you have seen, but there's video. Ro Khanna is putting out video. Actually, here it is right here. Ro Khanna is putting out video where everybody and their mama want to act like they down with the UA workers. Joe Biden, all the progressives, Bernie Sanders. Now, there's a little bit of props. I would kind of separate him slightly out because he was out there in the beginning, day one, at the first tick. But yeah, here is the video. And this is the clown shit that the progressives, I don't understand how people fall for this. This is clown shit. Do you think he really cares? You care. This is the definition of the professional managerial class. You only care enough about my issue to give it lip service. You don't care enough about my issue. If it's not your issue, you don't care enough about it to actually put yourself on the line for it. Why don't you doing something in Congress about this? Why aren't you pushing Joe Biden? Why aren't you putting out statements? Joe Biden, you must come out with a statement in support of 36% specifically. Not that I'm on the worker side, that Joe Biden says, the President Joe Biden just announced that he believes that the UA workers should be getting 36%. Instead, they go out here and do these photo ops so they can repost it. And then the clowns that follow them, and I'm calling them clowns, be offended if you want to, will eat this shit up because it makes them, this is all about making everybody feel better. It makes you feel good that you're supporting a guy who's terrible, who's a neocon, who's supporting war. It makes you feel good that he says he support Medicare for all, that he's out here picketing, but not doing anything tangible to bring about the changes that these workers need. So let's look at this labor propaganda that this moron, Ro Khanna right here, this neocon, this anti-labor congressperson.
The whole country is watching what you're doing and standing with you. Because I think the workers in this country have gotten a raw deal. For how many years? At least 40. And you've got wages that haven't gone up. And then the food prices have gone up. Gas has gone up. Utilities have gone up.
He gets it. Yeah.
You know,
that's why we're out here.
What does this mean for you and your family being out on strike?
It's definitely going to tighten our belts. But it's show my kids and my stepkids that enough's enough of corporate greed. The top.
This is nauseating. This is nauseating. Because understand, this clip was edited by his staff. Did you hear that? He gets it. Did you hear that in the background? This freaking dressed up red turd right here, dressed in red turd. He gets it. Jackass. So let's listen to this again.
How many years? At least 40. And you've got wages that haven't gone up, and then the food prices have gone up, gas has gone up, utilities have gone up.
He gets it. Yeah.
You know,
does he get it? Does getting it mean just being able to diagnose the problem, or does getting it mean actually putting forth a solution for the problem? Does he get it? Because he's okay with sending billions over to Ukraine, though. So does he get it? Or is he out here just, and obviously, and it's nothing to this guy right here, obviously it's people that buy this stuff that they say. It's people that, you know, and not everybody watches RBN. Not everybody watches Convo Couch. Not everybody watches Comrade Misty or watches Nico House or watches Jimmy Dore. Not everybody watches these shows. So if you're only watching MSNBC, not even, or CNN or even Fox News for that matter, where you're not even being... you don't have malicious intent. You're just a person. I'm trying to seek news. That's it. And you seek news, but then you see people on MSNBC and CNN talking about Ro Khanna is the progressive. Ro Khanna is the labor guy. It's a totally misinformed, intentionally misinforming people or leaving stuff out about yourself. In this case, Ro Khanna. And when we're talking about cable news, leaving stuff out about these candidates that you're trying to praise, like talking about Joe Biden as a labor president as he broke a strike. You're not even going to say that. You're not even going to say, yeah, he broke a strike, but he's still considered. You don't even bring that up because it's all in hopes that you and the population is being worked to death where they can't pay attention to these details.
That's why we're out here.
What does this mean for you and your family being out on strike?
It's definitely going to tighten our belts, but it's show my kids and my stepkids that enough's enough of corporate greed.
Do you notice this video so far is not talking about the demands? Why aren't you including how the terrible capitalists, the big three automakers, why don't you put in on footage of them talking about how they're greedy? Why aren't you doing that, Ro Khanna? It's this. How do you feel? Are you out here? Can we talk about the issues? You see how it's the I'm here, but I'm not with you. That's exactly what it is. I'm here, but I'm not with you.
The top 1% just keeps taking and taking and taking, and we're struggling.
Our CEOs are making billions of dollars off of our backs.
Yeah. Trying to get rid of the middle class. That's bullshit. That's what they're doing. They keep on getting rid of us.
You know, it's corporate greed. Yeah. And it's been killing the working class for 40 years.
That's the comfortable thing. This is a comfortable place for progressives to be. This is literally their number one thing. Corporate greed. This is literally their number one thing when they're trying to say what separates them from the other Democrats. Corporate greed. Why is Ro Khanna not talking about how he takes money from corporate? Why is he not talking about that? The same corporate greed that you're talking about, he takes money from those corporations.
Absolutely. Everything else in the world has gone up while we're still at the same rate of pay.
I mean, they have the money to do right by the workers.
But they'd rather have all the part-time workers because they
do right by the workers. These are the very vague terms and phrasings that the people who want to project that they're with the workers, like Joe Biden, they say stuff like a fair deal. That is a loaded word, the word fair there. Because to me, a fair deal is a 45% increase. So fair from whose perspective? This is the selling that they keep selling to workers, that somehow workers and owners can both come out of these things where both of them are equally happy. That is not the case. This is the nonsense that people like this, and this, quite honestly, the progressive Democrats want you to believe. For what's fair for workers, the owners will absolutely not like, because what's fair is a 50% increase. That's what's fair. Because to be honest with you, the 36% that they're asking, that just brings them to current. The contract should be projecting to how they're going to be making money going forward. The contract that is a 4-year contract, it just brings them to current. So that's why the 30% brings you current. The other 14%, that's the raise. That's why I say, to me, a 50% increase is not at all ridiculous, that should be classified as fair, and they can afford it without raising the price of cars. They can afford it. So let's continue with this rank propaganda from Wakanda.
They still make out more money and they don't have to pay out as much.
And it's just because they were newer that they're in the second tier.
They created the second tiers and they took all the money and gave it to the billionaires.
And what's the starting wage for supplemental?
Starting wage is $15.78.
That's crazy.
We gave up so much during the 08-09 recession.
Yeah.
That's just crazy. That's all he says. That's crazy.
To the company get back on their feet, which they have been.
That's the key point, that you gave up almost half your wage to help this company survive during the recession. Correct. What do you want to see different?
Well, we'll see here, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a problem if you're making a product and you can't even afford that on yearly wage.
I would love to buy a Jeep, but I can't afford it. I have retirement. Most of the people on my team don't have a retirement pension.
So there are 3 different tiers. There's some who have the pension, some who don't, and then there's the temporary.
Right.
You can't have a country like that where you hollow out the working and middle class, where you ship jobs overseas, where you have corporate greed looking for the lowest wages. That's why we have so much anger in this country.
It's not a future to look forward to. There's no retirement here.
Do you have a pension?
No, I don't.
Everyone's paying attention to this in the Congress. So, as they should. Cost.
What does that do? You're paying attention to it in Congress. What does that do for them? Why don't workers, all of the workers, for example, all of the workers who are out there picketing, they live in somebody's district. If we have a representative government, why aren't your representatives out there? Local, federal. Why aren't they out there? Why aren't they the ones calling these capitalists and tell them you need to go out and do what my constituent wants? The point that I'm making, and I'm going to switch back to the MSNBC clip. The point that I'm making is this milquetoast sort of approach that is literally, we have 30, 40, 50 years of this milquetoast politicking. It's time for a militant approach. So that brings me back to the clip that I had earlier with the segment, what if the squad was militant like the Freedom Squad? So let's do this. Let's go back here, and it's the framing of corporate media is very suspect. It's crazy how they frame how democracy should work as this is the Wild Wild West. He can't get control of his because he shouldn't be in control. The people should be in control. The way government, we're seeing what the Freedom Caucus is doing, putting the screws to the GOP and Kevin McCarthy is how politics should work every single day. This is what the squad should be doing. And let's listen a little more to this segment and the examples. And I do want to go back now to what Matt Gaetz said, because why doesn't the left needs somebody, is it going back?
Voting another way that the House.
So let me actually, I want to just get to I want to get to Matt Gaetz' part. So let me replay Matt Gaetz and you tell me, and then I have a question after that. So let's listen.
Told me a little bit ago.
There will not be sufficient Republican votes for a continuing resolution. Now, if we've got some of these moderate Republicans who want to go and join up with the Democrats, they will be signing their own political death warrant, and they will be handing it to their execution.
Now, let me give you the left version of this. Hypothetically, if we had militant people elected as part of the left, this should be AOC or Bernie saying, if anyone who's voting against Medicare for all, you're signing your own political death wish. That's why isn't Bernie Sanders and AOC saying like this, talking like this? Why is Matt Gaetz not afraid to do relational harm? AOC, why is that? Let's continue.
And Gaetz also told me that he would personally go to New York to campaign against some of his own Republican colleagues.
He would go personally. Imagine AOC and Bernie Sanders saying, Joe Manchin, we're going to go personally to West Virginia and campaign against you if you vote against Medicare for all. Instead, he just sends out tweets and makes videos like he's just, a spectator. Let's listen a little more.
Colleagues, Republicans who are the majority makers, who can help them keep power in the House. So frustrations at an all-time high, and the House just paralyzed right now. Manu.
Yeah, just remarkable to see. And so many significant things here on the table. The narrowly divided House, Kevin McCarthy having a very difficult time navigating it. Melanie Zanata from the hallways in the House. Thank you for that. And here in the studio to share their reporting and their insights, CNN's Audie Cornish, CNN's Daniel Strauss, and Times' Molly Ball. So we've seen this movie before, but now we're in the prospects of a government shutdown in just a matter of.
Now you look at the table. You have Rana Maju, man of color. I think this whole table is identity politics all across the room. Got a black guy, black woman, two women, white woman. You would think, looking at this, oh, I'm about to hear a discussion with people with different opinions. You would be sadly mistaken. All four of these people have the same opinion. This is what corporate news gives you. You see 6 people on the screen. Those are 6 people. They have the same opinion. Now, let's say if there's Democrats, you have the same opinion except for on culture wars. Let me change it. Except for the approved things that you can disagree on. Let's continue.
Of days, the speaker, after all this went down, vented his frustration to reporters.
Now, imagine if this is Nancy Pelosi talking, venting her frustration because damn, the AOC and Ilhan and Rashida Tlaib, god damn those women. This is her speaking.
Frustrating in the sense that I don't understand why anybody votes against bringing the idea and having the debate. And then you got all the amendments if you don't like the bill. This is a whole new concept of individuals that just want to burn the whole place down. It doesn't work.
This is a whole new concept of individuals who just want to burn the place down. That's literally what Nancy Pelosi should be saying. What are you willing to do in order to bring Medicare for all? What are you willing to do in order to cut the military budget? What are you willing to do? These things. Nothing. I'm sitting on my hands. Nothing gets passed, Nancy. Nope. Instead, we have people who. So what do you think is going to win? Doing this to your speaker, your leader, or taking pictures on GQ magazines and calling her Mama Bear? Which one is the more effective strategy? We've seen it. We can see with our own eyes. We have evidence now since the Freedom Caucus have executed forced to vote. And the thing is, they probably listened to the left have this huge debate over this in 2020 or whenever it was, in 2019. The conservatives, the Freedom Caucus was probably taking notes like, damn, yeah, that panel Katie Halper had. Oh, that's a good point, Davidson Rowe. Oh, that's a good point, Jimmy Dore. Crystal Ball is making about force of vote. Yeah, if we did that, anybody has the DSA handbook that has this strategy? Go get it. And they're executing and ripping the benefits from their perspective. Let's go.
So viewers may have a hard time sorting out all the budget and spending issues they have to deal with here on the Hill. The issue that collapsed right now was a year-long bill to fund the Pentagon. Typically, Republicans all vote in lockstep for that bill. Typically, they also vote for the rule. That is the first procedural vote that has to happen. Typically, the majority party votes for it. This time, in what has now been a common practice among these hardliners, they are voting against moving forward on
using their power to get what they want. And you don't want to respond, leader, to what I want. What's up, Rome? You need me to join, or you needed some moment? You want me to put you in now? Okay. What's up, man? You was watching and you saw something that triggered you, or what?
I've seen a couple of things.
Go ahead. Yeah. You got the floor, sir. If you wanted to chime in on some stuff, and then I'll get back to it.
Oh no! You
just joined.
Because I wanted to hurry up. I wanted to hurry up and hop in before this one for this segment started.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying is like this is just proof that is this really the best we can get the squad when Nina Turner, and I think of all the people on RBN Rome, I think I give Nina Turner the most benefit of the doubt, maybe me and JB, because I would have her on the show. I think there's a lot of agreement, and I think she's a person who could appreciate the perspective of that we give here. Like, I think she can appreciate it, even if she's not on board with it. I do think she has an ear that can appreciate what is said. But to say that they're the best that we got, this is the best that a people can ask for. Like, if I had Matt Gaetz as what else could I ask for? What more can I ask for? Like, if I wanted the things he wanted. Now, you got to flip it now. If I wanted the things he wanted, what better representative could I ask for that's going out there calling this motherfucker out, saying, you're going to get your ass, I'm going to vote your ass out. He's saying this on the floor. Mm-hmm. Why don't we have AOC and Ilhan Omar's doing the same thing with freaking Nancy Pelosi? This is like insanity to me, but let's get back to the clip and see what other points they make here. Let me finish this. Okay, here we go.
The rule, the process, as leverage to try to extract concessions, leaving McCarthy in a bit of a jam, quite a jam. How much trouble do you think the speaker is in right now?
First of all, I love that you're still reporting this out while you're sitting in that chair. You cannot stop. I was more intrigued by the fact that McCarthy said some people just want to burn it all down, like he's shocked, like he hasn't been around since 2012, 2014, 2018. So I don't know what the performance of shock is supposed to do, but clearly he is trying to figure out how to lead by exerting a kind of public pressure. Mm-hmm. And I'm wondering if it's working, basically.
Yeah, it's not, because he tried it. This happened earlier this week. It failed on the same bill. Again, this is the year-long bill. Never mind, we are less than 10 days away from having to pass a bill to fund the government. They're trying to do just a month-long stopgap measure to keep the government open for a month with a whole bunch of measures that have been demanded among the right flank of their party. They don't have the votes to get that out of the House at the moment, let alone getting in the Senate to the president's desk.
And there's another point right there. He just said, Rome, they don't even have the votes. Is that stopping them from doing their strategy? Nope. Because that's what AOC and them told us. That's what they told us. We don't have the votes to get Medicare for all. That's what Sam Cedar, that's even with Cenk. This interview he just went with Bree, he was saying the same thing. We didn't have the votes, but we might have the votes for a $15 minimum wage. Who cares if you have the vote? You execute the strategy regardless, because the strategy is to bring bring power to bear to your demands. And you're not gonna do that calling her mama bear. That's simply not gonna do. That's simply not gonna do anything. But did you hear what Matt Gaetz said he's gonna do if these rhinos? Let me play that part again, and then we can move on to the next part. This is what Matt Gaetz said he's gonna do if any Republican. This is him talking to Republicans.
Listen to what he told me a little bit ago.
There will not be sufficient Republican votes for a continuing resolution. Now, if we've got some of these moderate Republicans who want to go and join up with the Democrats, they will be signing their own political death warrant, and they will be handing it to their executioner.
Why don't we have anybody on the left that's elected like that, Ron? Why not? Go ahead, sir.
I'm gonna have to agree.
Infuriating, man.
I'm gonna have to agree with Caucus for once. This on the left, this is the best that we can get because the people elected on the left is here just to pull the people to the right. So this is the best that we're gonna get. We're not gonna have anybody calling out anybody by name, even if you're in the same party or you align yourself or whatnot. No, that's not their strategy. Their strategy is to use our language, walk like how we walk. So when we start paying attention, we start following them, they lead us to a back room to the Democratic Party. That's their strategy, but it doesn't matter if they had, like we have seen this multiple times. They had votes to do what the hell they wanted. They had the votes with Carter. They had the votes with Obama. They had the vote. They had the numbers with Clinton. They could have did anything that they wanted to. And what do they choose to do? They choose corporations over the people every time. This is their strategy, So this is the best that we can get. And as long as we have a two-party system, you're going to have people to the right outflanking the left. You're going to have that all the time, especially when it comes to stuff like foreign policy and whatever it may be. But these people don't want to stop the wars or stop the bullshit from they like America first, right? So they don't want to help these people. They just want all the money for us. They just want all the resources for us. They're like, fuck helping, Palestine, fuck helping Africa, the nations of Africa. We want all the money for us, but it still look like they are still out-lefting the left, and it's going to continue to happen as long as we have two parties in the system that's going back and forth. How else are you going to be able to fight? How else are you going to be able to strategize? Right? It ain't like you have a third party that you can align yourself with and hold some votes from. So yeah, this is the best that we can get. This is the best we ever going to get because of how corrupt the system is today and how corrupt it's going to be 100 years from now if we continue to go down this path.
That's actually a good perspective to have, because that is true. So what Nina Turner is saying is true. Maybe she wasn't saying it with malice to trick us. Maybe she is saying, considering the system, this is all no Marxists, no Romes and Nicks is getting through to Congress. You get what I'm saying? That's never going to happen. So the best we're going to get are these milquetoast, semi-withers, sometimes afraid and timid people. This is what we're going to get, because this is the only people that the powers that be are even willing to even allow on the kids' table. Like, it's a grown man. Bernie Sanders is treated like a damn infant. He damn near 80 years old. He is literally treated, whatever, Bernie, go over there and be a good boy and make sure you go campaign for Joe Biden, even though they're throwing your ass under the bus, calling out socialism and all type of stuff. Yes, and I'm gonna veto Medicare for all is just truly disturbing here. But all right, let's get off that topic. Go ahead.
Like, these people, like a lot of people try to say, oh well, I believe that they got threatened and they must have threatened their families and no. A real fighter will fight to the death. A true leader will fight to the death. So if this is your leader and they let a couple of death threats get to them, they're not a fighter. They're not a leader, right? Oh, okay.
Imagine if Malcolm X stopped because he got a death threat. Imagine if MLK stopped if he got a death threat, man. This is that
what
weak
they
shit.
did was they sold you out. They sold you out. And maybe they didn't even sell you out. Maybe you sold yourself short. Maybe you maybe you had this illusion of solidarity with somebody who don't even know your first name or the district that you even live in, if you live in their district or not. You have built this relationship, this illusion of a relationship with this politician, and you played your damn self because they never had the intentions on a Marxist revolution, a socialist revolution, a workers' revolution. It was a political revolution. A political revolution for who? For them, to get their job, to get their seats, to take over that moderate wing of the Democratic Party. That was their revolution. And yeah, you get nothing out of it.